Welcome to a very special 25th episode of Video Store Clerks. And tonight, well, gentlemen, we work at a video store. And the one constant in a video store, well, other than customers asking about the new releases and Chuck Nasty disappearing behind the curtain for hours on end in the porn section, the one constant is customers coming in asking, what's good? What's good? I want a horror movie. I want a slasher movie. I want to see maybe not blood and guts, maybe not monsters. I want to see suspense. I want to see a good thriller. I want to see an action adventure. I want fucking a modern day Indiana Jones movie. Something different, something good. What do you got? Well, we always take them to one section in the store. But Dave, you sophisticated sexual deviant, is there one section in the store like that? Why, yes, there is. We take them to one section in the store. That is the John Carpenter section.
That's right.
All this and more. All this can come from one man? Yes. Yes, it did. So tonight, put down your Sutter Kane novel, grab your vampire steak, hold on to your butcher knife, and hop on board the old Pork Chop Express because it's John Carpenter tonight on Video Store Clerks. Booyah!
It's not a legacy I want to leave behind, but I am Chuck Nasty.
How the fuck am I out of whiskey already?
This shit can't be any fucking good.
Welcome to the store.
Gentlemen, tonight's the night. Once again, welcome to Video Store Clerks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We are your humble clerks tonight. I am Dave.
I'm Chad, man. Chuck froze.
Sorry. My goddamn shit's stupid. There we go. That's my explanation. My goddamn shit's stupid. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. Fair warning. In both our necks of the woods, there's a bad storm a brewing.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking place right now, so bear with us if perhaps we have technical difficulties in the store. You know, we haven't paid rent in the video store for years. It's a wonder we have any power at all, but here we are. Here we are tonight once again.
That guy.
You know that guy?
I know that guy.
Yeah, I know that guy. Once again, it's John Carpenter tonight, and tonight your clerks will pick 3 of our favorite movies from this legendary filmmaker. The word
Not easy.
Yeah, not easy.
Not easy at all.
This was the most fun, but yet the most difficult one I think we've ever done.
Yeah. No, yeah. The choices are limitless.
Yeah, like I didn't realize he did so much shit until I started going through his little resume there, and I was like, it's not so little.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, he did that. Oh shit, oh there's that one. Oh, there's this one, and it's like
You really start thinking about it. You start realizing that John Carpenter's the master for a reason.
Absolutely. And you know, the word legend gets thrown around a lot, but I challenge anyone to argue that this man is not a living legend because he is.
He really is.
He's the last of the greats, man. I mean, he really is. I mean, like we lost Hooper, we lost Romero, we lost Craven.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like when it comes down to the forefathers of our generation's horror, John Carpenter is the last saving grace.
Yes, absolutely. And if anyone was to come up or state their Mount Rushmore, if you will, of legendary filmmakers, without a doubt, he would be on there. You know, with the likes of, like you said, Wes Craven, Tobe Hooper, Ridley Scott.
He will be at SteelCon in Pittsburgh,
Yes.
August 11th through the 13th, and I will be there.
Oh, you fucker.
Yes.
I mean, good job. Oh, big shocker. Chad's fucking met everybody, okay? So whatever.
We will add him to the collection, which hopefully he doesn't put his fucking death mark on him like he's done a lot of other celebrities. But
Hopefully
You
not.
just need to try to get a video of him saying like "Welcome to Video Store Clerks." There you
would be
go.
sweet.
Just throwing that out
That
there.
would be dope.
Just throwing that out there.
Pay extra for that shit. That'd be like another $200.
whatever.
But I'd do it.
Whatever. But again, with this legendary filmmaker, I mean, so many directors have publicly stated that John Carpenter directly influenced their life and career. And there's a whole laundry list of them, but let me just list a couple names to give you an idea. James Cameron, Quentin Tarantino, Guillermo del Toro, Robert Rodriguez, James Wan, James Gunn, just to name a few. But enough of that. We all know, like, if you don't know the guy, why are you watching the show? What are you doing? What are you doing?
They like us.
Like, well, okay. First off, before we get into this real quick, John Carpenter isn't just a master at his craft of writing and directing horror.
And they
He's an amazing musician. The stuff that he comes out with, man, like all his fucking movies. I mean, he scores all that shit. Like, it's it's something that I appreciate the fuck out of. Every time I watch a John, like last night we were watching What's the Thing, and we watched Big Trouble in Little China, and then The Fog, and just listen to those soundtracks, man. Like that score is just fucking. It's
also, not to cut you off,
great.
Chuck, but he also is the composer of the Shudder theme.
Shutter plug.
Shutter plug.
Is he really?
Yes, sir.
Word? I had no idea.
You just type in John Carpenter on the Shudder search thing, and it'll pop up and be like Shudder theme song by John Carpenter, and it plays the whole fucking song.
It's sweet.
Little things we didn't know.
He also edits his own movies.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure he has a big hand in casting too, because a lot of the same people work with him.
A lot of reoccurring people in
a
his
bunch
movies.
of times. Kurt Russell, Sam Neill,
Donald Pleasance.
Donald Pleasance. There's a bunch of them. But anyway, my God, we could go on and on and on and on. Keith David, yes. We could go on and on and on all night, feeding the praise of this living legend. But let's get into it. Like I said, this was difficult. I feel like Halloween should just be a given.
It's given.
It's a given.
Yeah.
Well, Halloween is a masterpiece. It's one of his masterpieces. We're going to leave it be. It's not on any of our list. We already know that it is up there.
It's up.
We all love it.
The man's a legend.
Completely.
Gave birth to the slasher genre, was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, most successful independent film of all time. I think they made it for like $300,000.
Yeah.
60 some million dollars, whatever it was. But anyway,
I mean, also real quick, I got to mention though, John Carpenter has affiliation in Kentucky.
He grew up there, didn't he? I think he went to university there too, didn't he?
Yep. And a lot of the names of certain places in Halloween were from here in my home state.
Represent.
Before we get started, let's just give a shout out to Bruce Campbell. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bruce Campbell. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Ash Williams. We love you. Ah!
He's the fucking man.
I'm sure we'll have a Bruce Campbell night on this show.
We need to. It's going to happen.
For sure. I just watched him in the new Doctor Strange movie.
I haven't seen it yet, but it's on.
I haven't either.
Doing this.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that at some point.
Yes. So back to John Carpenter.
Let's just get started. Start rolling with these movies. Again, this was difficult, so I'm just going to start. My number 3, In the Mouth of Madness. Absolutely, 1995. Absolutely, what am I? I've loved it since the first time I saw it.
It's great.
I feel like it's underrated.
Very underrated.
Like not enough people have seen this movie, but it's so good. It stars Sam Neill, who just hot off the heels of Jurassic Park went on to do this movie, and he's worked with John Carpenter before too. About the Sutter Kane, sort of that H.P. Lovecraft kind of thing.
Yeah, which is what I love about it.
And John Glover's in it. He plays that doctor at the beginning. Such a great part. This movie's it's scary, it's fun, it's the perfect John Carpenter movie, right?
Yeah.
Monsters.
What?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I thought.
Oh, no. In the Mouth of Madness. I'm a big where I write horror stories and shit. I tend to like movies that have to do with writers, and in this one, there is a complete like this is a writer who is so mysterious that they have to go out and seek him. You
Mhm.
know, and it just I don't know. There's something about this movie that I because Chad and I think did we talk about it the other day?
Briefly.
Yeah, like it's a very underrated movie. You weren't wrong about that at all. It's so
Because,
good. I mean, it really
it's
is.
on Shutter.
It is.
It is on Shutter. It is on Shutter. Shutter. Hey, Shutter.
We'll do
Can
it
we
for
get?
free.
Can,
100%.
we'll do it for free. We'll do it for free. I'd love to be on Shutter. Be great.
And the way one of the lines in the movie is something. It's something along the lines of reality shares your point of view, but sane and insane could easily swap places if the insane became the majority.
Right.
It's scary to think about because it kind of feels like we're slowly headed in that direction.
Oh yeah, definitely. The idea of being in a place because when Sam Neill goes to search him out, he ends up in this fucking town that is like not a ghost town, but like everybody's kind of like it's like Freddy's Dead,
Right.
where everybody knows something and they don't really want to talk too much about it, but you just know that it's something sinister. You know what I mean? Like I fucking love the movie. It's so good.
Like something's not right here, and it turns out the town Hobbs End
Mhm.
is from Sutter Cade's book, and everything is slowly starting to become reality. It's just good stuff. I love this movie. Any final thoughts on In the Mouth of Madness before we move on?
I always thought it was pretty dope how like I guess you said like everything in the book was actually happening. Because like he even mentions like the old lady beating the shit out of her husband and torturing him and killing him, and then like she's just the sweetest little old lady ever. But then later on, her fucking husband's like handcuffed to her ankle, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up."
The sweet old lady just looks down because he's like he's squirming and he's gagged, and she just looks down and goes, "Hush!" Like
It's
he's mad or something.
when it first I remember when it came out, like
Mhm.
every comic book that I had a fucking like for that time period, every comic book I bought had an ad for In the Mouth of Madness in it. And I remember when I first saw it, I was kind of like I didn't know about it, like how I was gonna feel about it at first, because it was like when I was around the time I was really getting into horror, like hardcore, and I've always fell in love with it. The characters are great. The idea of a writer having his entire
It's book of verse.
yeah, like his whole universe being an actual place.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like, and the H.P. Lovecraft thing is that's pretty much. I'm pretty sure that's the basis of what it was. But it's also like Stephen King. You know what I mean? Like you could seriously just change the name to Stephen King, and that would be,
Mhm.
because that's what I said. Like I get more Stephen King than H.P. Lovecraft, but I mean, but the ending scene when, well, close to the end, when Sam Neill confronts Sutter Kane, which, by the way, the name Sutter Kane is fucking cool. And if I ever have a fucking like another kid, Sutter Kane, that's going to be the fucking name. Just saying. Like that. I think it's a great fucking name. It really is. It's about as cool as Billy Zane.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Cool.
yeah, it's a great fucking movie. It's a very underrated movie, and anybody hasn't fucking seen it, check that shit out.
Yeah, check it out. It's
Yeah,
on
it's
Shutter. It's on Shutter this month.
That was actually
Shudder.
the first movie
Shudder.
I watched for the Carpenter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Because you'll notice a theme with all his movies. He has a knack, a talent for taking an old idea and making it new again, which
Yeah.
you'll notice in all his movies. I'm sure as we go on, which we will. Go ahead, sir.
See, I'm still up in the air on like 3 different ones for my third pick.
This is hard.
Yeah.
Like I could pick 10 of them easy, but
We're gonna go Escape from New York.
nice.
Good choice.
Like even whenever I was a kid growing up, like Rambo was real big and shit. And then so I mean, obviously I was born the year it came out, so I didn't see it till later. And it just gave me like that street vengeance type shit for Rambo.
Mhm.
Wasn't in a jungle, was just in the fucking streets. But then it also had me freaked out because I was like, so this takes place in 97. It's like 5 years or so from whenever I first saw the movie. So I'm like, shit's gonna pop off here. Cause like I mean back then, like you don't know what the fuck's up. Like you think like shit's gonna happen the way it is in the movies. Like all the futuristic shit. That's why we still don't have hoverboards.
Fucking bullshit.
But I mean like I thought like class of 1999, like fucking teachers were gonna be the teachers were gonna be fucking robots and all that shit. Like but it really wasn't. But like altogether, like it was a dope movie. Like it had all the action. It didn't stop. Like
It's
just constantly kept
two,
going.
it's 2022. Why can't we just fucking like push a button and we go wherever?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, you know.
Right.
But
Yeah, I definitely love that movie. Like I actually went back and watched it today because I was just so torn about the third pick because it was between that and Christine and a couple others. Like I mean,
I haven't seen Escape to New York in years. I'll be perfectly fucking honest. I plan on watching those here soon, both of them.
like Escape from LA is dope too, but it just kind of went a little more cartoonish, comic-y type.
Yeah, the soundtrack to LA was a little better than the movie was. Let's be
Right.
honest.
But it
But
had Bruce Campbell in it.
yeah, but the Kurt Russell movies. I was talking to a friend of mine that was here before we got on, and we were talking about John Carpenter and stuff, and he was like, "Well, I always see the Kurt Russell movies are like top tier John Carpenter
Mhm.
films."
Mhm.
I mean, because I mean, you really think about it. I mean, like you know, Big Trouble thing, the Escape from New York movies. Was that it? Is that all he did?
Elvis.
Elvis
It was that
from-
TV movie.
Yeah, it was way back.
Shit, John Carpenter did that, didn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I totally fucking forgot about that. Yeah, shit. Nobody ever thinks about John Carpenter making an Elvis movie. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird.
And Kurt Russell playing him. I think my mom had that taped years ago.
He was perfect though. He looked just like him.
He did. He looked good.
Yeah.
Any
Good stuff.
final thoughts for Escape from New York?
Classic. You
Great
haven't seen
score,
it,
too.
watch it.
That's another one
Great
with a great score.
And there's
There isn't a bad score.
everybody's in the movie.
Yeah.
That's
There's no bad score when it comes down to a Carpenter
No.
film. There really isn't. And that just is another reason why he's the king.
All right. Now I'm curious. Chuck Nasty, you're number 3.
God, man. The number 3 was the one that was the hardest for me.
Me too.
Mhm.
I think all of us.
It was.
I had my
I-
first 2 picked in like a day.
Mhm.
Yeah. God damn it. I was a toss up on this one. And I'll tell you the one I'm going to go with. And then we could talk about the other one. The Fog.
Really? I thought that would be
I
your
did
number
too.
1.
Well, see,
I really did too.
the thing is, I love The Fog. It's a film that really made me more intrigued with a certain type of horror. The idea of ghosts and pirates coming back from the dead because of stolen treasure and all that. Like, it works. Everything about it's fucking amazing. I mean, it's creepy. You got some good death scenes. It's probably the least gory out of a lot of the stuff that he did. But I mean, they tapped into a creep factor. You know, from the very beginning of the movie, you see certain things happening. The guy in the grocery store, you know, with the sign and you know, he's hearing stuff and all this stuff. You know, everybody has the same. There's so fucking many. Has this, because my girlfriend's over here showing me all the fucking movies, and it's like, yeah, well, there's tons, But like, yeah, The Fog, man. That's one. And also, I gotta say, the person that got me into The Fog, I got to meet recently.
Who was that?
It was Joe Bob Briggs.
Oh shit!
See, I thought you said something about
Which
Joe
up here above Friday the 13th is my signed. Oh, you can kind of see it, whatever. It's my signed autograph by Joe Bob and Darcy. And I tried to explain my drunken self to Joe Bob. I was like,
Thanks.
I was like, the thing is, in my head, I'm like, I told him, I walked up to him. We got to the table, and he was signing autographs. Okay. And he was signing autographs, and I was like, because of you, like I have found so many of my favorite like horror films, and one of them being The Fog. I always remember you saying The Fog. The Fog, the way he said it, like he was just like, we're back to the fog. And I don't know. I asked my buddy Jay, who was with me, and I was like, did I sound fucking drunk? He's like, I don't know. I was drunk too. But the thing is, Joe Bob's reply was, oh, that's cool.
It's like, cool story, kid. Let's get this.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, is like it was a dream come true meeting him because he really did introduce me to all kinds of shit. And The Fog, I mean, a lot of movies, but The Fog was one that I don't know, it just hit me in the right way. I mean, like every year on April, was it 21st or whatever the fuck it is? Is that when The Fog, the whole thing starts, is April 21st?
I don't
Or
remember.
something like that. Like, have to watch it all the time.
It's the one I haven't really watched.
Really?
I mean, I've seen it numerous times back in the day, but like recently, like that's probably been 15 years since I've watched it.
Well, I will have to throw this out here. Anybody that's never seen The Fog, do yourself a favor. Make sure it's the original and not the piece of shit remake.
Oh, that's right. They did do a remake, didn't they?
Oh, they did a remake of it, and it's the worst remake I've ever seen in my life. It's so bad. It's so bad. I tried watching it. I watched it once, and I was
remake at least every week about how bad it is.
I mean, I've never seen it.
I do mention how much I hate this fucking remake all the time.
Even last week, I mentioned Tom Welling, and he's like, "Oh, unicorns."
Like I tried watching it once because I'll give everything a fucking chance, and it didn't. There's something about it. It just made me mad. And then like years later, I went back and watched it again, and it pissed me off again. I was like, I'm never watching this movie again. It's a piece of shit. You can't. It's just bad. It's so fucking bad. But The Fog is number 3 for me because it's. I mean, fuck. John Carpenter's in it. He makes an appearance. I mean, the actors in this fucking movie. Tom Atkins. Come on. Jamie Lee Curtis. Her mother.
Oh, yeah.
Adrienne Barbeau. I mean, fuck. But you can't. Janet Leigh, the screen queen, Psycho. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. There's so many great fucking actors in this fucking movie, and the script I think is perfect. The whole idea of it, it's almost kind of like Leprechaun, like you stole the gold. Now time to meet the Reaper. And in this one, there's so many moments where you're kind of freaked out. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're on the boat and the guy falls out and he has no eyes and he's drenched and everything, like he went in the water, like he drowned, but he was never, it's just, there's so many fucking scenes, man. Adrienne Barbeau, come on. Who didn't have a fucking crush on her? I mean, seriously.
Well, I just found out like today because I was watching Escape from New York. Like I checked her out on IMDb. I didn't know that her and Carpenter were married for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and I won't go into it on here, but yeah, I've heard things from different people about that situation. They still respect each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta say, the one moment that I had to speak to Adrienne Barbeau, my mom, took it over. My mom works Scarefest in Lexington, which I've probably mentioned 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And there was one year that Adrian was there, and I didn't know. I was kind of nervous. I was like, and my mom just walks up to her and starts talking like she's an old buddy. I remember you were on this soap opera and blah, blah, blah. And they were just talking, chatting up and shit. And I'm over there going, I don't know if I'm supposed to like say anything, or it was just like, because I know how I am. I'd be like, you were great in the fog. And those episodes of Drew Carey were great too.
Was she in there?
Yeah, she was Oswald's mom.
Okay.
I always remember her from Creepshow.
There was a whole, of course. I mean, obviously Creepshow. Yeah, she was a fucking bitch in that. Just tell him to call you Billy.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything, but I can compare a couple X's to that one. But anyway, that was that. Yeah, fucking heck.
Well said. Well said. Excellent pick. Excellent pick with the fog. Oh shit, it's back to me.
Surprise.
Surprise. My number 2, I'm gonna go with The Thing.
Fuck yeah.
1982. And the other constant with John Carpenter movies is they did not do well at the box office.
Which is funny to think about.
Yeah.
Right? They're all iconic now.
Yeah. But, what would you rather have? What's your definition of success? Is it selling a lot of tickets on the opening weekend, or is it having a movie that people are still talking about 40 years later? I would say the latter for me.
Right.
You also have to think about like when rentals got real big too. Like that was also a thing. A lot of movies like were shit in theaters, but when movies came out to rent, people were like crazy about it, which is weird.
Because people saw it. I think what happened with The Thing is it went up against E.T., which was the total opposite of The Thing in every way.
Yeah.
But another Kurt Russell. What are you doing?
Yada
Yada yada. Another Kurt Russell collaboration. Just a fucking great movie, man. It was a gore fest with crazy good special effects, actually.
Yeah,
especially for its time. I hated the part with the dogs.
Yeah.
Dude, that always gets me. But it's it's a good scene. I hate seeing the dog go through that much pain, but I mean that's when you first really get a good idea of like the terror that's about ready to happen,
Right.
That again is another very old idea that he may do again. I think it was based on a novel that came out in 1951, I believe. Back in the 50s, during the flying saucer UFO craze.
There was a movie.
Yeah, the movie was based. It wasn't called The Thing though. The novel was called. I don't remember the name.
I've got the original Thing on VHS. It's called The Thing.
But it was based off a novel from a different name that came out years and years before. But I forget the name of the novel. I forget. Fact check.
That out.
Move on.
We need somebody to fact check.
Fact check. Somebody listening.
With
Anybody?
the most terrifying idea, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Right.
Nothing else like that. The most terrifying idea imaginable when an alien life form takes over your body and you're in an isolated, uncomfortable environment, kind of like Alien.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as claustrophobic, but I think being stuck in the Arctic would be worse. I mean, I've never been to space, but I feel like being stuck in the cold Arctic would be worse than fucking anything imaginable.
Well, watching it last night, I was talking to my girlfriend about it. And I was like, this movie has got so many fucking like fear factors to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking freezing for one. Two, you don't know who to trust because there's a fucking man-eating like alien running around who is taking the place of all your friends and animals. Nobody can trust anybody. I mean, do you remember the scene? I mean, with Kurt Russell, whether like they come, they're like, oh, and he like McCready, and he's like standing there, and he's got the fucking flare, and he's got the the dynamite, and
Mhm.
he's you know
Or even like whenever like what was his name, Cooper went crazy. Like in the very like from the jump, as soon as he saw like the data on his computer that was like looking like an old
Oh
Atari
yeah,
game,
yeah.
like
yeah like Atari game, yeah.
you know what I mean? That shit was dope. Like it definitely would put the fear in you. Like you couldn't trust nobody.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I say it was a gore fest, but like you said, with the suspense factor, I think there was more suspense than anything. When he's holding the, when he's doing the thing with the petri dish that has the blood in it to test
The
them,
blood test.
yeah,
'cause
yeah,
you don't know who it is. It's like a whodunit kind of thing. You don't know who it is. The
it's a
little
mystery.
stuff like people getting shots. There's a lot of times where they show a close up of the needle going into the arm, and you just kind of cringe.
Yeah,
When he slices his thumb.
Yeah,
Like if you ever gotten a paper cut before,
that's tough. I actually had to look away for a hot second whenever that
Yeah,
shit happened.
yeah.
Especially whenever like whenever Windows is doing it and then like, he does it really fucking slow to himself for some reason.
Yeah, and you
And
just
then
cringe.
it's just like, man.
It's little things like that.
yeah. But you can't ignore the gore.
Oh,
I
no.
mean, when they first saw that one beast, it was the dog,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and fucking Walter, what's his fucking name? Fucking diabetes.
Oh, the Wilford Brimley guy.
Yeah, Wilford Brimley, which
Yeah.
you don't even realize it's him without the mustache.
Yeah, he
Right.
But
looks so weird, clean shaven.
he really does. And he's just walking around that thing. He's just like, and he's just like, you feel like he's actually grossed the fuck out. Like he's reaching into this thing, and he's making these noises and stuff that you would when you're cleaning up dog shit that looks like your dog ate like 50 pounds of something they should have. It's just this big fucking beast. I mean, like the special effects in this fucking film, they're legendary, and that's a word that we will keep using for these films, because I mean,
Especially for that time frame. Like, I mean, back then,
Yeah.
like that shit was crazy.
which I gotta throw here. One of my favorite scenes in that fucking movie is it's a favorite of a lot of people's. When Duder's on the slab, it's about,
Yeah.
and then they're trying to do what the fuck is that shit?
CPR.
But yeah, and his fucking body opens up, and it's just like it's like what the fuck?
paddles. Bites
Yeah,
the runs off.
Yeah, and then like the head's all fucking like, I mean, like, dude, come on, that scene, and like he's got his tongue out, and he's like dragging the head
Yeah.
across the floor, like that movie. That's the kind of shit that I'd rather see now.
Oh,
You know, I
God.
don't care about CGI and all that shit. I want to see practical effects.
That's like the scene that
It's
goes
good
through your
shit.
head whenever someone says the word "the thing." Like, you just go straight to that scene. Like that's what
Yeah.
I do anyway. Like it's so fucking good.
It's just so good. I mean, there's just so many gore. I mean, I'm watching it last night, and I hadn't seen it in a minute, and I'm just like, this shit's fucking beautiful. It's so gross. I mean, but it's what I want in my
Right.
sick little twisted heart. Is I want to see the gore. There's a great story, great characters, fucking phenomenal. But the gore, it warms my heart. It really does. I love the thing. It's a great film, and I'll go ahead and throw out there that was my number 2 as well.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah. Again, it's another idea that's been used over and over again since the first season of the X-Files had an episode just like it, where they were
Mhm.
trapped up in the Arctic. I think was there a remake of the thing?
Yeah,
Was there? I never seen that one either.
yeah, it was
it's a reboot.
a reboot, and it was kind of
Because the main
It was-
character chick,
Oh, see, stop
McCready
doing
was a chick.
yeah. It was. I remember when I rented it from Redbox, and I was very, very, very let down. I was not happy about it. I was very. It was a night when I was coming home from the bar, and I was wanting to watch a movie. I was feeling pretty good. Went down there, got that, went home, and I was like, 15, 20 minutes in, I was like, this is shit. And I passed out. Never watched it again.
Yeah, I don't remember really watching it too. Like I know I had it and I had watched it, but I don't really remember it.
I didn't see it all. I think I skipped all his remakes, which might be for the best.
Like, didn't they go into the ship in that movie whenever they found it? Like, actually, like, kind of
I
toured or
think they
something?
did. I think they did actually. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of went like a different way. It was weird.
Yeah, see, like leave that to people's imagination. I think
Like
I think that's a less is more kind of thing.
I mean, yeah. What we did, what we saw, like in the original, like in the John Carpenter's thing, the beginning of it, we see the spaceship and all that
Mhm.
stuff, and then we don't know anything else about it for a while. And when they actually show it, and when Kurt Russell is like, I mean, it's probably one of the coolest fucking like. It's one of those moments where like I love Kurt Russell. He's like, look, we're not getting out of here alive. They're not either. Like it blow the fuck out of the thing. I mean, like it was great. You didn't see it wasn't a. You almost forget that it's a science fiction type horror film.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not seeing a bunch of little green men. You're not seeing a bunch of like UFOs. You know, you get a couple of little shots of that shit. You forget about it, and when they go in and they find the UFO, the spaceship, and what do? Blow up sky high, bro. They dime bag that shit like a motherfucker.
The scene that always cracks me up is like the very beginning, whenever like you realize those Norwegians can't shoot for shit, man. Like they missed that fucking dog like a million times. Then they have dynamite and shit. Then they fucking land and they still can't hit the fucking dog.
Well,
Shoots the dude in the leg. It's like you guys do not know how to shoot a fucking rifle for shit.
well, let's give the Norwegians they're better with swords and burning churches.
Yeah, that whole scene had me fucking dying as soon as I turned it on yesterday. I'm like, who the fuck? Who was shooting this gun?
Yeah. Well,
I'm like, you're fucking terrible.
I mean, did they cause that whole thing? If they would have just offed it?
If they would have killed the
If they-
dog, yeah, it'd have been no movie.
Wow. I never thought about that till now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny though because nobody has a good shot except the one guy that shoots the guy on the head.
Yeah, the fucking Gary, like the lieutenant or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, pops him, pop.
Yeah.
Nobody else could get the dog.
They all shoot like fucking stormtroopers. But yeah, that's another thing in John Carpenter movies. I don't think any of them have a happy ending.
Happy ending.
I don't think so.
Maybe like The Boy That Could Fly. I forget that.
Oh,
movie.
I forgot about that one again. That Fred Savage movie.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
forgot
made
about
that?
that one too.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like as soon as I like looked down his resume, I was like, what the fuck?
Wait. He made that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fuck was that movie called again?
The Boy That Could Fly.
The boy that okay, yeah. I remember watching the movie as a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't that was John Carpenter. Okay.
Right. We didn't either until I didn't until about 3 days ago.
That's kind of funny.
Like I know I've seen it. I don't remember. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. The Boy That Could Fly, but
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's been more than a minute since I've seen that one. Where are we?
We
Oh,
are
it's on the thing.
Store.
Okay. Oh, we're on the store.
We're in the store.
we're at the store.
Well, go ahead, sir.
Number
I
two-
figured this episode was going to go like this, so it's okay.
Number 2 is going to be They Live. I've always loved that movie as a kid. Like growing up, like I remember watching that shit 1,000 times. Plus, I was a big wrestling fan, so you had Roddy Piper in it,
Fuck yeah.
and then more fucking what's his name, Keith David.
Oh yeah, the great Keith David, one of my favorite actors.
Who
Yeah,
was
it
also
was-
in
Spawn.
The Thing.
The Thing as
Oh.
Childs? And yeah, Spawn.
Oh,
yeah.
You're both right.
Yeah.
Yay.
Like that. The whole concept of that movie though just fucking always blew your mind. Like, what if like there were aliens? Just because you don't know, you know what I mean? Like shit could be popping off like today and back when we were kids.
He questions reality a lot.
Considering the fact that we live in an age where okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. All right, we live in an age where the time is where lizards are people, and there's lizard people running around everywhere. And this movie just kind of just told us from the beginning that that lizard people were everywhere, but they weren't lizard people; they were fucked up looking. Because it's kind of crazy. Because if we had glasses, like Piper had in that movie. Dude, I'm telling you, people you wouldn't even know, wouldn't even think of, would be they would be they're lizard people. I'm telling you. We're not getting into conspiracies and shit here, but I believe this shit. I've seen enough at this point. Lizard people are real. They Live was trying to tell us that shit is all fucked up. Simple as that. I mean, honestly, if you look at They Live and look how fucking like Hollywood's become, how our world's become, I think John Carpenter just fucking knew, man. He just fucking knew.
He tried to tell us even back then.
Right.
He tried to tell us.
That scene between them fighting in the fucking alleyway over the glasses.
Which became a South Park.
Did it?
Oh yeah.
I
They
didn't see that one.
it was it was Timmy and the other how do I fucking word this?
Timmy and Jimmy.
Yeah. Was Jimmy the other one? Okay, good. Because I didn't know what the fuck to say otherwise. But there's a whole fight scene with them in an episode. And they choreographed it from They Live. You can watch it. You can watch the fight scene between Piper and Duder from They Live, and then you can watch the scene at the same time of Timmy and Jimmy.
We're gonna have to do that.
Wow.
It's the same fucking scene. And like
That's great.
it's perfect. It really is. Yeah.
Kind of impressive.
So
Actually.
we actually just watched that movie as soon as Dave got here. Like I had it playing whenever he got here.
So
It is a
good.
fucking great movie. Like
It really is.
Name too.
Meg Foster.
Yeah.
Oh, love her. She's
Her eyes
cool.
kill me.
Those fucking eyes. Oh my gosh.
Eyes, man. Oh, the fucking eyes. She man, she was a big name in the fucking 80s,
Uh-huh.
early 90s and shit. She was in all kinds of shit. But that was the one that
I was gonna say she'll always be evil into me.
yeah. Oh yeah. And she, now she's her career got resurrected because of zombies. So,
Right.
Thank you, zombies.
Thank you, zombie. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rob Zombie.
And that fight scene is so great. There's no music. There's no
No.
like quick shots. There's no fast editing. It's just, and it goes on for a while. I think it goes on for like
It's a
5
good- Yeah,
minutes.
it's a good 5-minute fight.
Mm-hmm.
Which you could actually go back to the old bum fight movies. You remember those?
Yeah.
It was actual. It's so horrible, but actual homeless people fighting. And if you actually watch the scene and then go back and watch some of those, there's not much difference. I'm just saying, except
We watch them all
and
the time back in Pittsburgh. Me and Angel watch the shit out of them.
it was bum fights and girls gone wild. Okay, that's all I'm saying. My childhood was fucked. I was destined to be the nasty motherfucker I am these days. But you love me, so whatever.
It's just funny too in that movie, like how once dude puts the glasses on, like they're inseparable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, immediately, like they if he would just put the
And they
fucking
look so
glasses
fucking
on.
terrible.
If they didn't like, if he would have just put the fucking glasses on, they wouldn't have had to beat the shit out of each other.
He wasn't going to give him the satisfaction.
And the thing is, though, when he found out, he was like, "All right, we got to do this." And it was like it was a great team, But it's like you just whoop the shit out of each other, and it's like, oh, okay, well, all right.
That's one of my favorite scenes in that movie is whenever they get done fighting and they're walking up the street and like they have these big bumps and bruises and their cuts and shit all over their faces. You can tell some shit just went down. And they're just walking the street together like nothing fucking happened. And that shit kills me every time. Like I said, we just watched it. I was fucking laughing like a fool. So I was like, my favorite part's coming up. Then that happened, and Dave's just looking at me as I'm laughing. Like, why? I'm like, they're just so fucking like, it's just so funny. Like, I don't know why, but it just kills me.
When Piper's character puts on the glasses for the first time, and he's walking around and all this shit, and he's seeing all these messages. Again, it goes kind of like it's kind of crazy because it's like Cosmopolitan magazine.
Right.
He puts the glasses on and it's just like obey and like all that shit. Like it's not too far from what we're in now. But I gotta say that the scene that the whole part that fucking does me is everybody's favorite scene. I'm here to do two things. What is that, guys? What are those two things he's there to do?
The chew bubble gum and kick ass.
And he's
then
all out
fucking
of
Duke Nukem flipped it on him.
right, yeah. Dude, you know how cool it'd be if they made a They Live video game?
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, why haven't they made that?
Because nobody, that's the thing. Movies back then that should have been made into video games, like everybody ignored. Now would be the time for something like that. I would,
Right.
God.
Oh, that
Fucking-
would be fucking
and-
sweet.
Also, they do so much crazy shit with like audio and video and whatever. Like you could bring fucking Piper back. You know, even just for a video game. Bring the
You
mother.
can just voice it like Bruce does with Evil Dead and shit.
Yeah, like Piper was a favorite of mine growing up. He was cocky. He got the job done. He was always fucking great, and I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them fucking do a video game of that and actually kind of like have him immortalized in some way. You know what I mean? Like besides, I mean, because we know we have wrestling videos and all that kind of shit, but
Right.
it would be cool to you know to have him back for a little while. You know, play as him. You know, we don't think
The
about
Frog Town game.
That could be like a bonus game on They Live. Oh,
Yeah,
that would be sweet. We should be in charge. Why are we in charge?
I know, man. Wasn't Bill Maher in that movie too?
How comes to Frog Town?
Was Bill Maher in that too, or no?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. The last time I watched that was actually on
Yeah.
Joe Bob's.
Yeah, it's been a minute, so I couldn't remember because Bill Maher was in a movie back in those days. I
He
can't
was in
remember.
House too.
Yeah.
Was that him in House too?
Yeah, I do remember that. That's what I always. Every time I see Bill Maher, I think of that movie. Yeah, he was the friend. He wasn't the main character. He was the friend.
Okay, all right, yeah. Which
Yeah,
those?
Wasn't he like the
Mullet.
friend's wife's boss or something?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, something like that. Like he came to the party or something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But I yeah.
I can
Fucking
talk those movies for hours.
Oh, the
They
house.
Live, dude. Oh, the House movies. That's something I actually want to bring up to you all, but we'll talk later. Yeah,
Ooh, I'm getting excited.
me
I love
too.
that
And a boner.
Well, the other good scene in They Live is too whenever he he dies for whenever he's destroying that satellite. And then all the alien fucks turn into aliens and that bitch is riding that dude at the end. And he's just like, "What's wrong, baby?" And he's all fucking aliened out.
Cut.
No, that shit was hilarious. As a kid, I was just like, what?
And then like the
What,
picture
is it good-
changes from like a picture that says marry and reproduce.
Yeah.
And like the news guy, he's like, what? What's wrong?
They're all just hanging out, like, what the fuck?
In the end, Roddy Piper prevailed.
Yes, he got his job done.
I love it.
That's-
Rest in
that's-
peace. Rest in peace, Hot Rod. And you know, he cut so many promos. It would take
The
a long
best
time,
promos.
but the best. He was one of the best promo guys ever. You could get like sound bites.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it would take a while, but
They could voice everything in there.
we'll do it.
Okay.
Anyway,
Chuck, two.
Oh shit. Well, my second was the thing. Okay. My second was the thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and change it up just because this is one that I want to put on here, and since we've already discussed the thing, I'm a big fan of anthology films and body bags.
oh, nice.
It's
That was one of the ones I was fighting
Yeah.
for my third one
Yeah.
as well.
same, yeah. Like it's John Carpenter is in the film. He's telling you the stories. He's the worker in the fucking
He's in a
morgue.
lot of his movies.
But yeah, but in this one he was taking a crib keeper
Right.
kind of feel to it. Like he's drinking formaldehyde and shit. Oh, I need a shot. And he's like, what I mean? Like, hey, it was cool as fuck. And the stories were so weird They started out kind of like
That,
semi-normal.
that was him, and I think he did the first 2 stories. Then Toby Hooper did the third one.
Tobe Hooper did the Eye, with
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, which was an influence for like 5 other movies that came on years later. But like you start out the film, John Carpenter's a worker in the morgue, and of course you find out that he's dead, which makes it perfect. I guess I can't remember if you find out that he's dead beforehand or whatever, but like whatever. But you have the gas stations story.
That was great.
It was great. You had appearances from so many people in horror in that.
Like, what's his name? Robert Carradine? Lewis from Nerds.
Yeah, I think so. Something like
Yeah.
that. I know.
David? Robert Carradine. Yeah. You had Robert Carradine from Nerds. You had Wes Craven makes an appearance in that one.
He's
He's
the creepy old man.
Yeah. And then you had Duder from American Werewolf in London. He was the handsome guy that's flirting with a girl.
Okay.
But that one, out of all the stories of that one was the one that like always hit me, because I was like, that's just a creepy like thought process.
Yeah, that was a really good story.
Yeah, I mean, like, what would you do? You're brand new on the job. Guy's telling you everything you know, all that stuff, whatever, just to find out the guy that was showing you what to do is actually the psycho killer. And like it's a mystery too. And I'm sorry for those that haven't seen Body Bags. I just gave the fuck away.
Way past spoiler on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, way past spoiler on that one. Sorry, you should have already seen it.
Then why are you watching the show?
Yeah, exactly. But it there's a certain like it's terrifying. I mean, like you're trapped in this little tiny thing, and
right.
And then like you get locked out, and then there's a lot of moments of terror in that one. And then of course you have the heroine, where the guy wants to grow his hair out, which is played by the amazing Stacy Keach, who was in American History X, Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke,
Sergeant Sedenko.
Right, yeah, like I'm stoned. I am fucking high. I have the munchies. God damn it, I have the munchies. Stacy Keach, amazing actor. Road Trip. What was it called? Road Rage, whatever the fuck. Another good one news. It was a movie. It was him and Jamie Lee Curtis, and it was fucking amazing. But anyway, but it's all about. I mean, like when you get older, you start losing your hair. You start feeling a little bit more. I mean, Chad and I can kind of relate. Look at that face. Look at it. That's a baby face right there, motherfucker. And then he's a guy that like he feels like he feels like his girlfriend just thinks he looks old, and he just feels like shit. And then he goes to this place with Duder, who played in The Omen, and then also played in like Ninja Turtles 2.
He's another one. Yeah, he's another one.
Yeah,
I forgot he was in that.
So many fucking people in this fucking anthology. I mean, like there's a lot. But like he gives them the extensions, and then all of a sudden, like they're alive, they're worms, which is terrifying. I mean, he wakes up the next day and he's got like a long flowing, like Peter Steele typo negative
Looks
hair.
like fucking Fabio.
Yeah, and then he starts growing it out of his nose, like out of every orifice. Like it's kind of gross, but still, like it's a good story. It's fucked up, but it's a good. It also makes you kind of think though too, about the latest thing, that's the latest trend, things like that. And at that time period, you had all your fucking infomercials and all that shit. So it tapped into that a little bit,
Right.
kind of poking fun at it. And then I can't remember. Was there 3 or 4 stories on that one?
That was 3.
Was it just 3?
Yeah. Because then
And
after
then
that was the Mark
was the
Hamill.
eye. The eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball player loses his fucking eye in a horrible
That's
accident.
the last one.
They give him, somebody else's eye, and it's a killer. And it's a great story. Tobe Hooper. I mean,
That was dope.
Such a cool idea too.
yeah, which everyone ripped off after that.
Yeah.
He's out there
Those are so
gardening and
good.
shit and fucking digs a ditch for his wife.
He goes from being such a loving husband. What am I seeing? What am I seeing here, Doc? Good shit. But yeah, I'll go body bags just because like
I
said,
do want to go
it was
back
on-
to the first story though. And, like I'm pretty sure the bum or whatever is the same bum that played Red in Back to the Future.
Oh, he's another one that pops up in a lot of his movies.
Yeah, because he was in New York too.
Yeah. The same people in those fucking movies, and especially it was same directors. Same directors. Well, with certain directors, they always like to use the similar
Right.
cast.
Look at Quentin Tarantino.
Oh yeah, he's a big one.
Like the same 15 people in every movie.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
90s.
You kind of know that Sam Jackson's popping up somewhere in those movies.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
Saying
It's gonna be
motherfucker.
awesome. Yeah, and it's gonna be great.
Yes.
I mean, Jackie Brown. Everybody just wanted to hear.
We'll get to Quentin.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to Quentin. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
we'll definitely
For sure.
get to Quentin. Well,
That'll be a long episode.
That will be a long episode.
Chuck Nasty, I really thought I'd have bet money that The Fog was going to be your number one. Since
It almost
wasn't,
was. It almost was. Wait till you get to my number one because I'm sure you all have it too.
I was just going to say the same thing. I can almost guarantee now because of that. I think we're all three going to have the same number one. Big Trouble.
Big Trouble in Little China. Yep.
my God. And this was another movie that didn't do well. And it was another movie that went up against another big movie that wiped it out. It was called fucking Aliens,
Yep.
which was also released by 20th Century Fox. And it looks like 20th Century Fox just kind of did them dirty and invested all their money in Aliens and
Yeah.
kind of ignored this fucking gem of a movie that I remember. I remember seeing it for the first time on network TV. It was the part in the alley when the three storms first come in. And buddy, I was hooked after that.
Right.
And back then, you couldn't just click a button and see what the title of a movie was. If anything, you had to wait for the bumpers when they would go to commercial. Sometimes they would say, like, we'll return to Big Trouble in Little China after this or something like that. It took me a while to find out the title of the movie, and then I went out and rented it.
Yeah, it was before the TV Guide channel.
Yeah, that was before.
Way before the TV Guide channel. The thing about Big Trouble was as a kid, my dad showed me how to record movies.
Mhm.
Which I'll go ahead and throw out here. The two movies that I first recorded off TV was Suburban
Cinemax.
Commando. No, actually, it was
You said Suburban Commando.
Suburban
That's
Commando and Commando, same VHS.
Nice.
Nice.
And so like I think it was a Sunday afternoon. Family was all chilling out, whatever the fuck, and like on Fox or 19XIX, which was channel 11. Channel 11, not channel 35,000. Channel 11. Okay, kids. And they played Big Trouble in Little China, and they played it like every other weekend on either Fox, 19XX, TNT, TBS, somewhere. And I loved it so much that I recorded it on like 4 or 5 different videos. Just because if I was watching a movie that was taped on it, I knew it was coming up, and I was like, "That's my movie." Jack Burton. I wanted to be Jack Burton, and now I'm older. I'm like, why? Like, but again, great characters, great story. Yeah, Big Trouble, dude. Yeah, but go on. I'll talk more in a second.
Well, yeah, I think we should all just jump in on this one since it's all of our number ones anyway. I think we'll just jump in.
Definitely is.
The great James Hong, who it is a fucking crime this band just now is getting a walk on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. By
True.
the way.
True.
We did fail to mention that's the 40th anniversary of the Thing.
Oh shoot, yeah, the Thing just had its 40th anniversary. If you guys want to feel old, but that's again, would you rather sell tickets the first weekend your movie came out, or would you rather have people talking about it and having screenings of it 40 years later?
Well,
I'd rather have that.
Since we're gonna mention that, you know the controversy over there right now, right?
No, what?
The controversy, yeah, because they put it that it's in the theaters again for the anniversary. But the problem is they've cut off like a big section of the screen, and people are like throwing a fit because they cut. I don't know. The tickets for it are like $20 to go see it, and apparently they've cut it down from your usual I guess widescreen to fit the theater screens, and people were throwing a goddamn fit about it.
So they
I don't know. Yeah, they cropped it like apparently pretty good too. I was talking to a friend last night who was talking about it. He's like, no, dude. He's like, they fucking cut this motherfucker down to size, and like a lot of people were mad about it.
So I
And I was
wonder
like,
if they cropped it to the TV format. It sounds like.
Maybe.
I would say they probably did, but here's my thing about that. I would much rather sit in my living room with my 56-inch screen and watch it on Peacock, which is just as good. All right, or I could smoke, I could drink, I could burp, I could fart. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay, fuck your whining. Go watch it at home.
Right?
Yeah,
It's cheaper.
yeah,
that
It's
shit
cheaper to
anyway.
get Peacock. Okay.
If you're gonna pay $20 to go see it, you should probably own it anyway. Because
You
you
could-
$5.
Spend
like
fucking
$10.
like like get the Peacock app. Fucking shut up.
That's so
Okay.
weird. Like
Yeah,
I'd rather
that's weird.
just not show it at all than show it like that. All I can
Yeah.
think of is that original print of the film is probably so beat up.
Yeah.
that the only print they can find that was decent would be the television, because they used to reformat them when they went to VHS.
Yeah, but that's also a cop out because like we watched it last night. Looked great. Looked fantastic. Looked fantastic. Looked amazing.
I guess just the digital formats are good to go. I guess they couldn't get like for the reels. I guess the reels are so beat up. That's all I could think of, because I just can't understand the reasoning of that. Otherwise, to charge people $20 a ticket, thinking they're going to have this great experience, and guess what? No soup for you.
Right.
Like I mean, like I would love to see the Thing in theaters. It'd be cool,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I saw, but these days, I'd much rather just be at home.
I hear that.
Put out a special edition with like, get John Carpenter to give you a big like intro to it or some shit. Throw that shit on Peacock or whatever the fuck, Shudder, whatever. I'm happier than a pig and shit. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Less people, the better.
That's weird.
So back to Big Trouble.
Back to Big Trouble in Little China.
Right back to a great film. Another great
God,
film.
To pick a favorite
To
scene.
throw out there, though, our first podcast we ever really tried was called Pork Chop Express. Or actually, no, it was
the
the
check
check
is
in the
the
mail.
check is in the mail.
The check is in the mail.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Jack Burton being out on a dark and stormy night? Like, man, like Jack Burton, man. When I was a kid, I wanted to be him. I had a little fake knife that when you stabbed, it went in, and it looked like the knife he had. And I kept it in my fucking boot as a kid. All right. And I thought that Jack Burton was the coolest motherfucker. He was a smart ass. He was straight to the fucking game, all that shit. Now, as I've gotten older, I've realized that he wasn't the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
He.
Dunn.
What?
So Dennis Dunn was actually the hero in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. it was one of those. It was a weird character for Kurt Russell in a John Carpenter film because Kurt Russell was usually like the badass. Da, da, da. In this one, he's the comic relief. He's basically the guy from Overboard in this movie. And it's like his little comment. Like I couldn't stop laughing last night, but like his little comments he'd make through the whole thing. Big, tall, like goofy looking, like spitting like lasers out of his eyes. Yeah, that happened, Wang. Like, I mean, like it just the way he is, the whole shit. Like, he's great. It's a great character. Great fucking movie, man. I fucking love it. Like, shit.
And says to the villain as he's tied up in the wheelchair, or check into a psych ward, whichever comes first, huh?
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Button. Yeah. A girl with green eyes. Green eyes.
Oh, that's
Like-
going in the trailer.
Yeah. The scene with Lopan and Egg when they're when they're fighting their shit. It's like two kids. Like I love it because that time period, video games were becoming a big thing,
Right.
Mhm.
and it's like two kids, fucking like it's hilarious to me. Like the whole movie's fucking. I mean, there's parts in that movie that are actually like kind of freaky, but most of the time I'm watching that movie, I'm laughing my ass off. You know what I mean? Like it's great. You have all these weird fucking monsters, weird fucking characters, and not to mention the fact that the Three Storms, one of them became the influence for Raiden in Mortal Kombat. So, which
There were a lot of influence in Mortal Kombat from Big Trouble. Include Shang Tsung is Lopan.
yeah, I would say that's part.
Yeah,
part of it.
Raiden and no, don't get me started on Mortal Kombat. We'll really get sidetracked then.
What I've got to know, like what is it? What is the scene in that movie that sticks out when somebody says Big Trouble in Little China? What is a scene that you're just like?
Honestly,
I can watch the whole movie in my head in like 2 minutes.
yeah.
You're right, yeah, but like, there's so many good like scenes in this movie.
A lot of times I think of the part with him in the wheelchair rolling down the ramp backwards.
Oh yeah, then he like gets up at the last moment.
Well,
Because like that's actually terrifying. You ever have that feeling when you're leaning back in a chair and you're about to fall and you just catch yourself?
Constantly.
Yeah. You have that feeling all the time. That must be a living hell.
Well, welcome to my life.
So like imagine rolling down a hill and nothing's gonna stop you. And I always thought I thought they were both heroes. Like I saw it as kind of a buddy movie, like a Lethal Weapon kind of thing.
it was like a
Oh,
team.
completely. Yeah.
I never picked one hero over the other.
Well, as you get older, you watch the movie, you realize that because we've talked about this on Tell Us on the podcast, and you really don't realize how much the hero isn't Jack Burton, but it's like scenes where like he's like and he shoots
I
up,
was just thinking that. I was just thinking about that part. I swear to God.
and then like when the big soldier gets him and he stabs him, the guy's like, I was like, oh fuck, like really, like, and he can't get him off of him.
Everybody else is flying around fighting. There's this big battle, and Jack's stuck with this one guy that he just can't get the fuck off of him.
Yeah.
He can't get his heavy ass dead body off of him.
Jack Burton. Go on.
Whenever he first shoots that guy, and the dude's like, first time popping somebody, he's like, nah.
Yeah. No. like, because he's full of shit. He's full of shit. Like, it's what was it? Well, I would have to say that when it comes down to it, I remember the first time, because if I remember correctly, the first time that I recorded Big Trouble was at, it wasn't the beginning of the movie when I started recording. I saw it was on and pushed record. And it was at the scene where Jack Burton and other dude,
Wang,
Wang, they're sitting in the truck.
you're crazy.
They've already gone, and they're trying to find the girls that got taken from the airport. And they go, whatever. And he's like, "What the hell is this, Wang?" And he's like, "Be quiet, don't make a move." He's like, "The Lords of Death and the Sons of the South, or whatever the fuck they're called." And he, Sons of the South, but he's like, "No," he's like, it's a standoff, that whole thing. He just that whole scene right there makes that whole fucking movie what it is. Like Lo Pan. He's like, what the hell? He's like, I ran over this guy and like what the hell? Like it's just there's imagine being an outsider so much. It's like, okay, he goes from driving a truck and having some stupid bets to going to fucking pick up a girl for his buddy because his buddy owes him money. And that's the only reason why he's helping him.
Yeah.
And then now you're stuck in a Chinese standoff between two gangs. Things are going crazy. Oh, yeah. And 3 individuals just showed up that have powers beyond recognition. Oh, yeah. You ran over a tall Chinese guy that happens to shoot fucking lights out of his face. Terrifying. But the best thing though is like when they go back into the fucking they go back into the clubhouse, the brothel, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's from Repairman.
Yeah. Well, no, when he first goes in, when Jack Burton first goes in.
Oh, the brothel.
Yeah, the brothel. And he's like, well, I was kind of looking for something more exotic. If you got a woman with green eyes, and then the girl goes off, oh shit. And he goes over to the other girl, he's like, yeah, he's trying to make small talk. And she's like, take off your tie, please. And he's like, he's like, oh yeah, my wife got it for me. I know what you mean. And then like the shit, I don't know, like that's Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Like that is like he just it's hard not to like the guy. Like
so
he's just
dirty in that scene is great.
Oh yeah, like he's like, oh, I really wish these were in color because I'm really looking for a girl with green eyes. A girl with green eyes. That doesn't even happen.
Yeah, and Wang owed him money, and he also had his truck stolen. He just wanted to get his truck back.
Right.
Really, that was almost his whole
Wang,
story. He just wanted to get his fucking truck back.
Keep your money, Wang. I'm out of here.
I don't want to hear.
Yeah, that's right.
He said, "Fuck it." He's like, you know what? I'm done with this. But like when they go back in and like one of my I think it's a funny fucking ass scene is when they go back in as repairman and they get up to the elevator and he's like, what does that say? And he's like
Yeah,
rings of death or whatever. And he's like, really? And he's like, no, it says whatever the fuck. And it's just like their banter back and forth is great. You know what I mean? But I gotta say, Jack Burton was the one that took out Lo Pan.
Yeah.
And probably one of the coolest scenes. Like, he's got the lipstick all around his mouth, and like he's like, Mr. Button, yeah, and like, and he tosses, and he just catches that shit and just launches it back, poof, right in his fucking head, down, and then you get that one motherfucker who's like, ooh, and he gets all big, and he's just like, it's so cartoonish.
It's so
but
good
it's
though.
Great. It's one of the greatest death scenes in
all
cinematic
the Buddha
history.
statues fall over.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. Like it's a movie that, like, minus the brothel scene, it's a movie you can show your kids. I mean, like it
Nothing happens really. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't want to explain to my kid what a brothel is right now. But it's a film that I think my kid would actually really enjoy, and I think that it because it has everything a kid wants. I mean, when I was a kid, it was my favorite movie.
Right.
You had great characters, you had fucked up monsters, and also something that a lot of people don't pick up on is the beginning of the movie when they're asking Egg, he's being interrogated, all the shit. They're like, we need to know, like, where we're trying to figure out where Jack Burton and his truck are. And you're like, okay.
You leave Jack Burton alone.
You leave Jack Burton alone. Like, And then he's like, you talk about magic and all that stuff, whatever. And then at the end of the movie, you realize what they're talking about because Chad Burton's doing his thing. He's done with everything. He leaves Gracie Law behind, and he's, is he going to kiss her goodbye? No. And because he's not saying goodbye, he's like, "I'll see you later." He gets in the truck and he goes. He's doing his whole spiel, and then you see the beast in the back of it. And you're like, oh, Chad Burton didn't fucking win. He went missing. Like, where the fuck is that movie? We probably don't need that to happen, but
It'd be dope.
I can't help but to say,
Them
yeah,
saying they're
probably
gonna remake it or reboot it scares the shit out of me.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Leave it alone, unless it's John Carpenter.
Like when I was a kid, I wanted a sequel so bad,
Yeah,
but like now, it's God. Just leave it alone. Let it be.
Yeah,
what it
dude.
is.
Let it be. Let it fucking
one of
be.
my favorite scenes in that movie too is whenever that big fucking like roach thing came out the wall, and Egg Shen throws a little bomb at it, and he's like, "You will come out no more." And he's like, "What? What'll come out?
What will come out no more?" Like,
When they're escaping the brothel, and he goes to open the door, and all the ninjas are standing behind it. They're just standing there, and then he shuts it real fast. He's like, "We may be trapped."
He only saw me hide.
And they play the music. Bong. God, it's such a great movie.
There's so many great scenes.
I'm gonna watch that again tonight.
It's so good. I mean, okay, the scene where Egg is giving everybody the drink.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "What exactly is in this, Egg?" Yeah. And they drink it, and because Egg's telling him and stuff, and he's like, "The eggs are demons," or whatever the fuck. And he's like, "Yeah, great, Egg. What's in this?" And then they all drink it, and they're all like in the elevator, and they're all like,
Feel pretty good.
Feel pretty good right now. Like, yeah. And like the guys are like, yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I want some of that. Like,
Right?
like I not so much to fight evil, but I want to know how the bedroom experience would be on that shit. I'm just saying. I think that it would be catastrophic.
You feel invincible.
I feel kind of
Yeah.
Be banging bitches like Patrick Bateman.
But I mean, like the scene with Wang, and the fucking which one was he? One of the three storm guys, and they're jumping back and forth, like fighting in the air.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a kid, that was the coolest fucking thing, dude. It's like, dude, they're just sitting there, like I don't know, man. I got like watching it last night. Like every time I watch this movie, I become a kid again. Even talking about it, I'm like a kid again. It's that's why it's number one. I mean, it's number one. It's one of the best. Funny as shit, action packed.
I have a good bit of Big Trouble in Little China stuff.
Yeah. What do you have?
Just like figures and blankets and fucking shirts and shit.
Yeah, he's got a big
Hell
blanket
yeah.
with no pan on it.
Yeah, Lopan's my
Oh,
shit.
that's cool. Hell yeah. Yeah, Mr. Batten. I did it way too well. I've been practicing it my whole life. What was it? When Chad Burton says at a time like this, what the hell? Oh, it's so great. It really is so fucking great, man. There's like so much shit to talk about this shit. The fucking eye monster. Like Egg Shen's trying to he's talking about back and forth with it shit, and like Chad Burton just shoots it.
Well, you never know until you try.
Like he's that guy. We have all known Chad Burton. And no matter if it was in high school or if it was a friend we knew or a family member, we've all known Chad Burton.
Yeah, we'll have to have an extra episode just doing nothing but Big Trouble in Little China.
Easy. That would be another easy one.
Oh yeah, it might happen. It might happen. Fucking yeah, yeah.
I think maybe if we just go through the movie from beginning to end, maybe throw some
Right.
tips in.
Yeah,
Be a
yeah.
good time.
Wonder if that's we could figure out how to stream that live and watch it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I think it'd be cool if we actually were able to do like a watch movie one night doing this shit.
Me
But
too.
you know, going back to John Carpenter in general. Before we get off here, because we've been on here for a little longer than
Actually,
usual.
this was an easy one to fill some time up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I
dude,
mean, we could still go on for a fucking hour easy about Big Trouble in Little China.
and not to mention that, but I mean, like, John Carpenter is 70-something years old. He's still kicking ass.
Yeah.
Studio 666. 6. Him and his son do the music, the score for that movie. He's in the movie.
Yeah, I heard he's like the engineer or something.
Yeah, he's the recording, the recording engineer and stuff. The man's just almost unstoppable. I think that John Carpenter will always, until the day he dies, he will be doing what he does.
Yeah,
He'll be
I agree.
making great movies. He'll be kicking out scores left and right. I've got a buddy of mine that has a few John Carpenter scores, and you know, they're fun to listen to. I mean, you know, Assault on Precinct 13.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, fuck. They're so fucking vampires. Fuck vampires.
There's a lot of honorable mentions.
Ghost of Mars. I always like
Ghost
that
of
movie. I don't
Mars.
care
Ghost of
anybody
Mars. Yeah. Yep.
I Will Die Alone on This Hill, but I will say Memoirs of an Invisible Man
says. No, that's good shit.
is also one of my favorites. Well,
I've never seen that one.
Chase.
I've never seen that one. I need to see that.
1993, 92. It's another one Sam Neill's in, and he actually plays the villain. It's
How have
actually
I
a
not
good
seen
one.
that?
It's funny.
It's another one
I
that
think.
just went under the radar. It's so weird with his. I don't know if he pissed people off at Hollywood or what happened, but his movies, as great as they are, just go under the radar, or they went under the radar.
You know, we also have to mention this one because I mean it's
Christine.
yeah, not my favorite. I mean, I'm a big Stephen King guy. I mean, Stephen King is the reason why I write the stories that I do. But John Carpenter, his style of directing and how he does things, that he makes them. That's a good movie.
It's a good movie. That was one of the ones I was fighting for my third slot.
It's entertaining as fuck. Which actually, a funny story, just real quick. The guy that's in it that plays one of the buddies, who was also in Ghostbusters at the beginning of the movie, the guy that keeps getting shocked, even though he has all the answers right, but Bill Murray's trying to fuck the blonde chick. Which I mean, I don't blame him. He was at Scarefest a few years back, and you know what's crazy about like our horror culture is it doesn't matter how big a role you had. It doesn't matter how famous you are. You were in that movie. Because he was right there at Christine and Ghostbusters, all that shit or whatever. Nice guy. I didn't get an autograph, but I talked to him for a second. I just thought it was kind of funny. Like just like, I don't know. It's like Christine is one of those fucking movies that, which actually we have to mention this. They're making a sequel.
What?
I heard something about that.
Yeah, I was really hoping it was false.
I kind of was hoping it was like Beetlejuice too, but
Yeah.
Apparently this is actually happening, and I don't know how I feel about it. But the original Christine is a classic, and it's a fun one. If anything, it's a fun one. Yeah. So
And one thing about horror fans and the horror community is we remember everything, and we're loyal until the end.
most of us.
yeah,
Some of us are dicks.
The real
And
ones.
when I say us, I don't mean us. I mean like other people. Like we respect this shit. This is why we do this shit. You know.
That's right.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
John
any final
Carpenter.
thoughts on John Carpenter before we close up the store? What else can you say?
Yeah, he's just a legend and a genius.
He's the man, dude.
The godfather of slasher films.
The day that we lose John Carpenter will be a very, very sad day. Very, very sad day. And I'll be damned if I'm not playing every movie that he's ever made that day. John, he out of all the They Live or Big, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Big Trouble was all our number. We all picked
Yeah.
that as our number one.
They Live was my number 2.
That was, yeah. But when it comes to John Carpenter, though, he is one. No offense to Wes Craven, no offense to Romero, obviously. No offense to Hooper. John Carpenter has the better movies. He's got a list this long that I would go for his movies over half of those. You know what I mean? Craven had Elm Street and Scream. Hooper had Chainsaw. And a lot of other good movies too. But that was the one he was mainly known for. John Carpenter has a list that is almost endless. Halloween, Assault on Precinct 13, The Fog, The Thing. I mean, like, he is, in my opinion, one of the greatest horror directors of all time, and rightfully so. I hate that the other forefathers are gone, but we still got him where we can. So I'm I have to give respect to John Carpenter. I've loved him for so many years, so much respect.
But we
Music,
can't say that
movies.
for now. He's like you said, he's still kicking ass.
He's still kicking ass.
And he always kept doing it, no matter how much money he had, how big the budget was, how small the budget was, how a studio treated him. He kept making movies.
Yep. He didn't give a fuck.
And that's why I would think he'd prefer the longevity of his movies as opposed to how much money they made.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the guy, but I think he could probably care less.
Can I also throw out here, though, that do you remember the bullshit that happened between him and Rob Zombie?
No.
Rob Zombie came out with because, like, for one, like, I'm a Rob Zombie fan. I'm a White Zombie fan. I think Rob Zombie's a complete dick. He's a complete fucking dick, and I'd probably punch him in the fucking face. But whatever. But I still love his music, and I still love his music or movies. But I'd punch him in the fucking face and kick him in the nuts. But that's for another fucking time. He came out and said that John Carpenter was an asshole to him about making Halloween. And John Carpenter came out and was like, I told him to go for it. I wasn't mean to him at all. He's like, that son of a bitch was coming to me and be an asshole. He's like, dude, he talked to Rob about everything. They were cool. He said, go for it. And then Rob comes out on a fucking interview talking about how John Carpenter was a dick to him about it and da-da-da-da-da. And then John Carpenter's fucking response to that was, fuck you. He's like, I never said any of that shit. You piece of shit. You big fucking baby.
So
John
because
Carpenter
of
is
that,
a king.
I tend to believe Carpenter's version of the story. But
I completely believe Carpenter over Zombie. Completely. Again, big fan of Zombie. Big fan. Love to punch him in the mouth a couple of 100 times. But yeah, Carpenter, I believe him.
Yeah.
Zombie was a baby. Go ask anybody that knows anything about the fucking White Zombie Pantera I Hate God tour back in the day. Fucking Rob was a goddamn whiny ass about his Oreos being eaten. It was Dimebag and Phil that ate his fucking Oreos. Yeah, he wouldn't fucking, he had his own fucking buzz. He's a big fucking cunt. He is. Sorry, but I love his movies. Love his music. He's a cunt. Fuck him. I wouldn't cry if he died. Whatever.
And
I'm a
that's
dick.
That's the kind of bullshit you deal with at Hollywood.
Fuck
But-
that.
Then you have a guy
Fuck
like John
that.
Carpenter, but he kept doing it. He kept doing it because he loved it.
Right.
John, that's what. And John Carpenter, go look that shit up. There is a video of John Carpenter talking about that shit, and he is such a boss about it. He is such a boss about it. He kept, and then Rob Zombie actually, after he called him out about it, Rob Zombie was like, he was like messaging him and calling him and stuff and like whining and crying. I'm sorry. Big old baby. Big old baby. Fuck you, Rob.
That out.
That's
John Carpenter, number one, motherfucker. Hell yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number one of
Number
our
one.
forefathers of cinematic horror, suspense, thriller, action, everything. That's why I
Yep.
said when someone comes into the video store and asks for something good, we take them right to the John Carpenter section because you can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
That said, thank you, John Carpenter. We are your video store clerks. We're closing up the store for this evening. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Before we go, does anybody have anything to plug? What do you guys got going on?
Nothing.
I'm sorry. Chuck,
Chuck?
do you have something going on?
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna keep it simple. Bastard Sons of a Judas-Scope. Go on our Facebook page, check it out. We've got the Fuck Cancer Metal Fest number 11 coming up next month. You can find out when and where. Lebanon Junction, Kentucky, all that shit. We've got a show in August in Lexington, Kentucky. You can go to our page to find that shit out. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say right now. Like, oh, wait. Fuck me running.
No.
Tales of Shock and Terror. Our comic book. Go check it out. Go get it. Buy it. Love it. We're actually working on stories for number 2 right now. And I'll tell you right now, my story involves a toilet monster. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes, absolutely. If you can't get enough Chuck Nasty, you can find him on his Facebook page. We encourage you to do so. And also like and follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, ring the bell so you'll be notified immediately whenever we put out new material because we love what we do. And we're trapped in the video store anyway, so we might as well share our lives with the world. That is all for this evening. Join us again live next week, Wednesday at 10. I'm Dave.
I'm Chapman.
I'm Chuck, and this is Bruiser.
And we are your video store clerks. Thank you again, and tune in next week. It's all in the reflexes.
Word. It's not a legacy I want to leave behind, but I am Chuck Nasty.
How the fuck am I out of whiskey already?
This shit can't be any fucking good.
Welcome to the store.